and welcome to my channel. Right, this is Dr. Shweta Malani, your biology coach, and this is your own channel, Tanisha Educational Hub, where we have tried to make biology very easy for you so that you can easily crack good, medical entrance examination as well as score high in your board examinations. Right, so why I am here today? I am here today not to teach you something, but yes, to discuss past 10 years NEET or better to say medical question papers from class 12 chapter 2, that is sexual reproduction in flowering plants. Right, as you know, before the start of any such question answer series, I just make a quick recap as to why you should practice past years medical question papers. Right, so I'll tell you one by one, because once you practice the question papers, you come to know about the trend, what type of questions are asked, and most important, you get that self-confidence that yes, if I study this much, I'll be able to make it into the examination. Second most important point is why you should practice it. You yourself become the judge as to what comes in the medical entrance examination. Here I will put a small word of caution. Children, I repeatedly say, please do not practice question papers before 2010, because before 2010 in medical entrance examination, the questions would be asked even beyond NCERT. But from 2010, they made it a point that the questions should be asked exclusively, if I'm not, exclusive is the wrong word, but on a priority to be asked from NCERT. Now, what do I mean by that? If they are asking 90 questions from biology, and if you have a very bad luck, then also a maximum of 5 questions may come outside NCERT. That is, 85 questions are very much assured to come from NCERT only. Now, those people who, misguide you, that, study this and that, you have to study so much extra to get into medical, that's a complete myth. Right, and what more, just practice the past year question papers and you'll get the answer for yourself. So I think practicing past year question papers actually helps you find out the framework within which if you study, you are surely going to make it into the medical. Right, so first I said it helps you in knowing the trend. Second, it helps you judge what is the exact syllabus, actually do questions come from NCERT, and third and most important, that is, you will not believe at times some of the questions they repeat from the past 10 years. And if you are lucky enough, from any one of the chapters, it may happen that out of the 4 questions asked this year, 3 may be just a repeat question from the past years. Yes, it happens in some of the chapters. That means practicing past year's question papers, it will actually give you some of the questions which may come this year as well. So please, I again and again re-utter my words that please, whenever you go to for any medical entrance examination, make it a point that you have practiced past 10, not practice, yes, you have gone through the past 10 years NEET question papers. Right, so with these important things in our mind, without wasting much time, I'll directly delve into the chapter 2, Class 12, Sexual Reproduction in Flowering Plants, and the question paper we'll be practicing is from 2010 to 2019, because this year in 2020, still the NEET exams have not been conducted. Right, so without wasting much time, here I am directly into the chapter. Let me place myself at the corner of the page, and as you can see, we are into the chapter. This chapter is, let me just help me myself. I had a little issues. I had made my pointer correct. Okay, so as you know, I'm into this class 12 chapter 2, sexual reproduction in flowering plants. And before I proceed into the chapter, you must know we will be practicing questions from 2010 to 2019, the medical question papers. And before I proceed into the question paper discussion, I want you to know one thing. From the year 2010 to 2012, the AIPMT was conducted in 2 phases. The first phase was called prelims and the second was called mains. That means first you had to, qualify prelims. Those who qualified prelims, they had to give another examination called as mains, and only after qualifying through the mains, you could get a seat into one of the medical colleges that were, that were hosting their exams through this exam, right? So, in the prelims, we had total of 200 questions, out of which 100 questions were from biology. And in mains, there were 180 questions, out of which 60 questions were from biology. So while discussing 2010 to 2012 question papers, I'll be discussing both prelims and mains question paper. And another thing I want to tell you, in 2015 and 2016, it so happened that the medical, exams, they got cancelled for some reasons, and the exam had to be held again. So I'm going to discuss both, the original exam questions and the re-exam that took place thereafter. I'm going to discuss. So in short, I told you from 2010 to 2012, I will discuss both the PT and the mains question paper. From 2013 onward, there's this single exam, and there 180 questions are asked, of which in 90 is from biology. So it's going to be a single exam paper that we are going to discuss, except for 2015 and 16, where the exams got cancelled and it was held again. So I'm going to discuss both the year's question papers. So I hope, guys, you got it clear. So without wasting much time, let us move into AIPMT 2010 to 12. First, we will go to prelims 2010, right? So let us see what are the questions that were asked. Wind pollinated flowers are, it's asking characteristic of wind pollinated flowers. They are large, producing abundant nectar. No, we know that wind pollinated flowers, they are small in size, they are colorless, they are odorless, they are nectarless, right? They are colorless, odorless, nectarless, and the pollen grains produced are in large numbers. This is about the pollen grains, and they are normally dry so as to enable them to fly easily, right? So we know that in wind pollinated, there's got nothing to do with nectar, because wind has no use of nectar. The wind pollinated flowers are small. Yes, they are. But they produce nectar? No. They are small and brightly colored? No. I said they are colorless and odorless. They are small? Yes. They produce large number of dry pollen grains. Yes, this is the right. So the right answer is the fourth one. That is, their wind pollinated flowers are small and they have large number of dry pollen grains. Now the next question that was asked is, apomictic embryos in citrus arise from? It is from page 39 NCERT. Yes, I must tell you that at the bottom of the page, you will see I have given the page number from where the question has been taken. Please make it a point that whenever you sit with question papers with me, you keep your NCERT with yourself and go to these pages to see exactly from which line the question has been actually taken. Apomixis, actually, I don't know why this is doing like this. Let me try it once again. Apomixis, it is from page 39 of your NCERT, right? And in apomixis, we know that there are of two types. One, it is from diploid eggs that the embryo is produced, and the other is from the nucellus, right? From diploid, this example is grass and the Asteraceae family, right? And from nucellus, it is the citrus fruits and apple. No, sorry, mango, right? So apomixis is basically production of seeds without fertilization. Seeds without fertilization. It can occur by two methods. I told you it can be either from diploid eggs or it can be from the nucellus cells. Now apomictic embryos in citrus, they arise from, I told you in citrus fruit it arises from nucellus. And what is nucellus? Is nucellus antipodal cells? No. Is the nucellus cells a diploid egg? No. I said diploid egg is a different concept. Is it synergid? No. It is maternal sporophytic tissue? Yes. You know that in angiosperm the main plant body is a sporophyte, and these nucellar cells, as this is the embryo sac and this is the nucellar cells, they represent the maternal sporophytic tissue. So the right answer is the fourth one, right? So now let's come to the next question. Transfer of pollen grain from the anther to the stigma of another flower of the same plant, right? The plant is saying, so this is my plant. and this is that means it has unisexual flowers. This is my male part, this is my female part. The transfer of pollen grain from the anther to the stigma of another plant flower but same plant, you know that this is called as geitonogamy. So let me see in which option. Yes, the fourth option is geitonogamy. That means the right answer is the fourth one, that is geitonogamy, right? Yes, so got it right. How many questions came in 2010 PT? 3 questions. That's a good number. Now let us come to prelims 2011. New stellar polyembryony is reported in. Just now I told you, right? In apomixis, just now, if you remember, I told you that it can be either through nucellus, and when it occurs to nucellus, the examples are citrus fruits and mango. Right, so let us see what's given over here. Brassica, no, it's citrus. Yes, so the right answer is the second one. Okay, so now let us come to the next question. The next question is filiform apparatus is characteristic feature of. Now you know it very well. Now if I consider this as to be my embryo sac, these are my 3 antipodal cells, these are the 2 synergids, this is the egg, and this is the 2 polar nuclei. Now here, if you know that towards the micropilar end, these synergids, they bear finger-like processes called as filiform apparatus. So filiform apparatus is basically a part of synergid. So zygote, no. Suspensor, no. Egg, no. The right answer is synergid. Right, wind pollination is common in. I will tell you wind pollinated ka 2 examples. Please learn it by heart. It repeatedly comes. One is grasses and the other is maize. These are 2 which come too frequently in medical entrance examination. So let us see here. Orchid, legume, lilies. We found the right answer, that is grass, and the right answer is the 4th one. In which of the following, let us see the next question, in which of the following pollination is autogamous? Now, what is autogamous? Autogamous means it is a condition where the flower is bisexual and self-pollination takes place, that is deposition of pollen grains from the anther to the stigma of the same plant. This is also called as self-pollination, right? So, it occurs where? It's asking. Now, cleistogamy. What is cleistogamy? Cleistogamy is a condition where the flower never blossoms, it never blooms, it never opens. As a result, what will happen? The flower is bound to be bisexual and the pollination is, you know, self-pollination. So self-pollination ka ek assured method, you have already learned it, and assured method is cleistogamy, right? So here the right answer is the first one, that is cleistogamy. Now in 2010 PT, as you can see, 4 questions came from this chapter. Now coming 4 questions from one chapter, that's a very good number, right? Now let's come to PT 2012. Right, an organic substance that can withstand environmental extremes and cannot be degraded by any enzymes. Very well guessed. You know that a pollen grain outer covering is called as exine, and this exine is made up of a special chemical known as sporopollenin, which makes it resistant to high temperature, pH, that is acid and alkali, and even no enzymes can degrade it. So the name of the chemical, the organic substance, is not lignin, not cellulose, not cuticle, but sporopollenin. So yes, you guessed it right. The right answer is the 4th one, and you can go to the pages as well given at the bottom of this slide to actually see from which line the question has been said. The coconut water and the edible part of coconut are equivalent to. Now we know that the edible part of the coconut, we call it as coconut kernel, which is, you know, the white in color. We call it as kernel, and the coconut water, which is found inside. Take, this is your coconut water. We know that both of them, they are actually endosperm. The only thing is kernel is actually cellular endosperm and the water is free nuclear endosperm, right? But both of them, they represent endosperm. We have already studied it. You can refer the page 35 of your NCERT. So let us see. Mesocarp, no. Embryo, no. Yes, the edible part of the coconut represents endosperm. So the right answer is the 3rd one. Now let us come to the next question. The gynoecium consists of many free pistils in. That is, it's asking, name the flower which has many carpels and the carpels are free. You know, there's the one term for free, many carpels free, is apocarpous condition, right? So it's asking, name a flower which is apocarpous carpus, right? You guessed it right. Just go to page 25 of your NCERT and you'll see the example there given is Michelia, right? So the right answer is the second one. Both autogamy and geitonogamy is prevented when? You know what is autogamy? When the flower is bisexual, that is, this is equivalent to self-pollination. This is autogamy, right? What is geitonogamy? When the flowers are unisexual but they are born on the same plant, so that this is the male flower, this is the female flower, such that it occurs from one flower to another, but the plant is same, right? It's asking both autogamy and geitonogamy, how it can be prevented. This can be prevented only when the plants are unisexual, as in case of papaya, right? The plant itself is unisexual. That means either they contain unisexual male flowers or they contain unisexual female flowers. The word for this is dioecious. And a very good example of dioecious plant is papaya. Right here, neither autogamy can take place nor geitonogamy can take place. It is bound to undergo xenogamy, that is cross-pollination, also called as xenogamy. It is bound to go that. So here, it's not castor, it's not maize, it is absolutely rightly guessed. It is papaya plant, right? Now let us come to the next question. Even in absence of pollinating agents, seed setting is assured. It says that even if there is no pollinating agent, it is bound to get, pollination is going to be there for sure. This is normally we speak for cleistogamous flowers, because the flowers, they never open. So obviously I don't need a pollinating agent, and self-pollination is assured over here. So what are the examples of cleistogamous flowers given in your NCERT? It is Commelina and the other one is Viola. There are two examples, right? It's Viola. So let us see what here. It's Salvia, no. Fig, no. Commelina is given here. So the right answer is the third one, that is Commelina. 5 questions have been asked in 2012 PT. Now that's a huge number, I must admit, right? So now let us come to mains. I told you between 2010 to 12, we had 2 sets of exams, one in the name of PT and the other in the form of mains. So let us first come to 2010 mains, right? So here you can see there are 4 figures. This figure, and this figure has been taken from chapter 1, reproduction in organisms. Only this figure is from this chapter, and it's asking examine the figure A to D below and select the option out of 1 to 4 here. From 1 to 4, select the option where A, B, C and D are correctly identified. I'm basically interested only in this figure because this figure is from NCERT, and as per my knowledge, the C here should represent antipodal. So now let us come to the C column. Only here it is given it is antipodal. The remaining must be right. It is not from this chapter, so I'll not discuss. But the only option where C has been labeled as antipodal is the 4th one. So let us see. Yes, the right answer is the 4th one. Right now in 2010 mains, actually nothing came from this chapter because this is basically from chapter 1 and not chapter 2, right? So now let us come to 2011 mains, right? In 2011 mains, the first question that comes up: in angiosperms, functional megaspore develops into. We know that in angiosperm, this is your megaspore mother cell. It will undergo meiosis, right? It will undergo meiosis to form a linear tetrad of 4 megaspores. 3 will degenerate and only 1 functional megaspore will remain, and this megaspore will form the female gametophyte, and the name of the female gametophyte in angiosperms is, yes, any guesses? Another name for female gametophyte in angiosperms? Yes, absolutely, you guessed it right. It's called as embryo sac. Right, this is one question that is repeatedly asked in medical entrance examination. You will see it as I go through the question paper, right? So the right answer is embryo sac. The embryo sac is the female gametophyte, which is actually formed from megaspore. So the right answer is the first one. Now let us come to the next question, question number 68. What is common between vegetative reproduction and apomixis? In apomixis, the seeds are formed from a single plant without fertilization, so it is a single plant. And in vegetative propagation also, new plantlets, they arise from a single parent or a single plant. So the one thing that is common in apomixis and vegetative propagation is both of them represent a type of they represent a type of asexual reproduction, right? So it's asking what is common in apomixis and vegetative propagation. Both of them are asexual reproduction, that is both are applicable only to dicots. Wrong. Both bypass the flowering phase, this is wrong. Both occur around the year, that is wrong. And both produces progeny identical to the parents, this is right, because in asexual reproduction the offsprings, they are identical to the parents, right? So the right answer is the fourth one. 2011 mains, 2 questions came. I think you understand. This is, how you read this. This is a unit, class 12, unit 6. It is made up of 4 chapters. From first chapter, 2 questions came, second 2, third 3, fourth 1, and total 8 questions came. And this is, applicable to all the chapters, 16 chapters. And overall from class 11, 34 question came, and 26 came from class 12. So this is how you read this, okay? So I forgot to tell you in the beginning, but now you'll understand. Now AIPMT mains 2012, let us see what the question is. What is the function of germ pore? Now what is germ pore? First let us see. We know that in pollen grain, it is surrounded by exine on all sides except at one point where the exine is missing, and this point where the exine is missing, we call it as germ pore. Is that clear? Now, what is the function of the germ pore? You all know that it is from this point that the intine protrudes out to form the pollen tube. Right? It helps in germination of pollen tube. So it helps, what is the function? It releases the male gamete? No, not exactly. Emergence of radicle? Not at all. Radicle is the first root. Absorption of water? Not at all. And initiation of pollen tube? Yes. The pollen tube is initiated from here. So the right answer is the fourth one. Plants which ovaries have only one of few ovules are generally pollinated by. Please go to page 29 of your NCERT, and there you'll see under the heading wind pollination, it is clearly written, normally those flowers which are pollinated by wind, they normally have single ovule per ovary. It's very clearly written in your NCERT. Normally in them, the ovule is single. Why? I have taught you already in the theory. Right now, we just need to solve the MCQ questions. So here, the right answer will be what? They are normally pollinated by whom? They are pollinated by wind. Right? So the right answer is the first one, that they are pollinated by wind. Okay? Now let me come to the next question. Which of the following statements is wrong? It's asking which is wrong. Intine is made up of cellulose and pectin. That's absolutely correct. The pollen grain has an outer exine and an inner intine, which is actually made up of cellulose and pectin. When pollen is shed at 2 stels condition, double fertilization does not occur. So that's absolutely redundant. That who said that? Where we know that in more than 60% angiosperm, the pollen is actually released in 2 cell condition. That is a larger vegetative cell and a smaller generative cell, and that leads to fertilization. So this is which of the is wrong? It's asking. I think this should be the answer which is wrong. Vegetative cell is larger than generative. Yes, this is the right answer. And pollen grain in some plants remain viable for months. It's correct. Refer to page 24 of your NCERT. You know that there are many plants where the pollen grain is actually viable, like in Rosaceae family. It's given 3 families, Rosaceae, Solanaceae. There are 3 families where the pollen grain is actually viable for for months, right? So the wrong answer is the second one. That's great. So how many questions have come? 3 questions have come from this chapter. Now that's a good number once again. Now let us move to AIPMT 2013. From now onward, we have a single exam and 90 questions are asked from biology, right? Perisperm differs from endosperm. Now what is perisperm? Let us see. The remnant of nucellus is called as perisperm. And what is endosperm? It is the nutritive tissue that is formed after post double fertilization, right? It is formed after double fertilization, right? Now if you know, this should be fertilization. Now, if you know it very well that the ploidy, since the perisperm is formed from nucellus, the ploidy of the perisperm is 2n, and you know that the ploidy of endosperm is 3n, because here triple fusion takes place, right? So now that we have a background of what perisperm is, what endosperm is, now let us try to crack the question. How does perisperm differ from endosperm? Its formation by fusion of secondary nucleus with several sperms. No, not at all. Perisperm is not formed like this. So this is wrong. Being a haploid tissue, wrong. I just now told you it's a diploid tissue, right? Having no reserve food, no. Perisperm is made from nucellus. So of course it has reserve food material. So that's wrong. Being a diploid tissue route. Now this is right. This is how it differs. It is diploid, whereas endosperm is triploid. So the right answer here, as you guessed it right, it is the fourth one. Let us check it out. Yes, we are all doing very good. How many of you are getting it right till now? Right? If you're getting it right, give a pat to yourself at your back that yes, you're doing it well, and definitely you can make it into the medical exam. Now, megasporangium is equivalent to, I told you this question is a repeat question. No, till now it's not repeated. Megasporangium. What is megasporangium? You know that you have already studied in the theory that the ovule is also called as megasporangium. Another word for ovule is megasporangium. Yes, so the right answer is the first one, that is, it is ovule. Now what is the advantage of cleistogamy? Again we come, cleistogamous flowers are those flowers which never open, right? So here what is the advantage? The pollination is assured, though the pollination is self-pollination, but it is assured, and it is not dependent on any pollinators, right? It is not dependent on any pollinators. So advantage is vivipary? No. Genetic variability? Not at all. It is self-pollination, no variability. More rigorous offspring? No, since there is no variation, no vigor in the offspring. No dependence on pollinators? Yes. That's a big advantage. It is not dependent on pollinators. So right answer is the fourth one. Now please go on writing how your answers as well, and let me see how many of you have made it correct till now, right? Please write it in the comment box below as you solve the answers, and how many answers you could actually make it, right? Which of the following is a statement is correct? It's asking about the correct statement. Tapetum nourishes the developing pollen grains. Yes, it does. We know that the outer layer is epidermis, then it is endothecium, and then it's middle layer. The outer three layers, they are protective and they help in dehiscence. The next layer is the nutritive tissue called as tapetum, and the function of tapetum is to give nourishment, right? So I think this is the right statement. Outer layer of pollen grain is intine, no, it's exine. Sporogenous cell is haploid, no, it's diploid. Endothecium produces microspores, no, the sporogenous cells they produce, right? So the right answer is which one? The first one. Okay, so in 2013 we had 4 questions coming up from this chapter. Now let us look at AIPMT 2014, right? In 2014, what was the question? Geitonogamy involves, now you know very well what is geitonogamy. Here the flowers are unisexual, but they are present on the same plant, and so here the pollination takes place between the anther to the stigma of 2 flowers. The flowers are different, 2 different flowers, right? But the plant is same, but the same plant, right? So it involves fertilization of a flower by the pollen from another flower of the same plant. Yes, it is fertilization from the pollen of another flower of the same plant. I think this should be correct, right? But still, let us go through other points as well. Fertilization of a flower by the pollen from the same flower. No, same flower is autogamy. Same flower is autogamy, right? Then that's not as geitonogamy. So this is wrong. Fertilization of a flower by the pollen from another plant. No, then that is xenogamy, that is cross-pollination. Fertilization of a flower by pollen grain from another plant belonging to distant population. Now this is an absent statement. So obviously the right one is the first one. Pollen tablets are available in market. Yes, we know that. Pollen grains ka advantage mein, we are making pollen tablets, and these pollen tablets are being used as food supplements, right? They are rich in proteins and they are used in food supplements, and they are given mainly to athletes and those horses which actually participate in races. So What are pollen tablets? They are used for in vitro fertilization. No. Breeding. No. The tablets are actually used as food supplements. So the right answer is the third one. Now let us come to the next question. Function of filiform apparatus is. Now what is the function of filiform apparatus? We know that, again we'll do it. This synergid, it has, you know, this finger-like projections. This is called as filiform apparatus. And if you just observe, let me make this ovule for you. Let me make this ovule, because this embryo sac is found within the ovule. I'm not going to make a great diagram. I'm just going to make a quick one. And this is my ovary, right? This is my ovary. And you know that the pollen grain, if I make it like this, as a quick one, so it will come, the pollen will come on the stigma, style, and then it will germinate, and you know it enters into the embryo sac through the filiform apparatus. It enters over here, right? So basically what does this filiform apparatus do? It basically guides the entry of this pollen tube. Pollen tube की entry को this guides, right? So filiform apparatus, the function of filiform apparatus is to recognize the suitable pollen. No. Stimulate division of generative cell. Not at all. Produce nectar. Not at all. Yes. Guide the entry of pollen tube. So you guessed it right. The right answer is the fourth one. Non-albuminous seed. I have been repeatedly telling it from class 11. This is a very hit medical question that will come. You must know that the entire Fabaceae family, right, CEAE, which includes pea, beans, right, it includes groundnut, all example, the entire Fabaceae family, the seed is non-albuminous or non-endospermic. This will come again and again. So is it maize? No. Castor? No. Wheat? No. It will be pea, right? So I'm very happy you got it right. The right answer is the fourth one. And here we have 4 questions coming in 2014. Now let us come to 2015. Which of the following may require pollinators but is genetically similar to autogamy? It may require pollinators but genetically similar to autogamy. And this will be, of course, in case of geitonogamy. Why? In geitonogamy, the flowers are unisexual, but they are born on the same plant. So when it is pollinated, there's no variation. So it is functionally, it is like autogamy. But since here the pollen moves from one flower to another, so we need a pollinating agent. So the right answer is geitonogamy, right? Now let us come, which of the following statement is not true? Again, it's asking not true. Pollen grains are rich in nutrients and they are used in the form of tablets and syrups. Exactly, that's given in page 24, I assume, of your NCERT, that they are used in making syrups and tablets. Pollen grain of some plants causes severe allergy and bronchial affliction in some people. Yes, you learned it. Parthenium, also called as carrot grass, right? It causes pollen allergies. So this statement is also right. This is right. The flowers pollinated by flies and bat secrete foul odor. Yes, you know, we know that flies and bats, you know, they are attracted to those flowers which have a bad odor, right? So I think this should be the right statement. Honey is made by digesting pollen. Not at all. Honey is made from nectar, right? So I assume the right answer should be Acha, it's asking which one is not true. I'm so sorry. So this is a true statement. Yes, the flowers pollinated by flies and bats, they do secrete, you know, foul odor. So this is also right. So this is the wrong statement, that, you know, this is made from nectar. So the right answer is the fourth one. Now, this is only question in these 10 years that has come outside NCERT, and that is about transmission tissue. Now, what is transmission tissue? I'll tell you first, and then I'll give you the answer. You know, transmission tissues in many plants, what happens, now this is my carpel, and you know that a lot of pollen grains, they land on the stigma, and some of the pollen grains, they may belong to the same species, and some of the pollen may belong to other species, right? In the garden, there are many flowers, and any plant ka pollen grain can land over, kisi bhi plant ka land kar sakta hai, anyone can land over here. So, you know, this stigma has a responsibility that it allows germination of only, you know, pollens of the same species, and not and should prevent the the pollen of other species from entering into the pollen into the style. So this is the styler region. So what happens is the style over here, it becomes solid in sunflowers. In some flowers, this styler region is solid because of the presence of a special tissue called as transmission tissue. Right, this tissue is called as transmission tissue. It is found in solid styles where the style is solid, and this transmission tissue, it actually it allows germination of pollen tube. It allows selective germination of pollen tubes only of the same species, while discarding the germination of other species. Right, so transmission tissue is actually characteristic of hollow style. No, the transmission tissue itself make the style very solid. Yes. Dry stigma, wet stigma, nothing. It is actually a part of the style. So that is the right answer. So second one. So now let us see. You can see here so many pollen grains have come up, but all need not germinate. So this is the styler region, and these tissues which you can see at the corner, these are the transmission tissues, and the transmission tissue is the place where the pollen tubes, they compete with each other, and only some of them will be able to make its way through till to reach the ovary into the ovule. Right. So now the next question that has come is, which of the following are important floral rewards to the animal pollinators? Right. Animals, why are they? Animals ko kya kya chahiye? Kya lalach hai? Of course, one, nectar, and second, edible pollen grains. These are the two main things. Edible pollen grains. In few cases, pollen grains. In few cases, they bring about pollination because they need for shelter. That is something different. But in main cases, it is for this and this. So what are the floral awards animal pollinators look for? Large and colored and large flower, usko kya matlab hai? Nectar and pollen, yes, ये उसके काम का चीज है. Right? Fragrance तो attract करता है, लेकिन वो fragrance का करेगा क्या? कोई थोड़ा ना insect उसको ले जा सकता है. Protein, pellicle and stigmatic exudates, no, it is the nectar and the pollen grain. 4 questions have been asked in 2015. Now that's again a very good number. Right, now let us come to next question, next year, that is, it is re-AIPMT 2015. Now let us come to 2015 re-AIPMT. It was conducted once again. The male gametophyte in angiosperm produces. Male gametophyte is what? You know that the pollen grains are actually called as male gametophyte, right? So what does it produce? You know that the pollen grain produces at the end, it has a vegetative cell and a generative cell. The generative cell will later form 2 male gametes, right? So a single sperm and a vegetative, no, it has 2 sperms and a vegetative. Single sperm, 2 vegetative cells, no. 3 sperms, no, right? 2 sperms, it will have 2 male gametes and 1 vegetative cell. So the right answer is the 4th one. Now coconut water from a tender coconut is, I told you, coconut water basically represents free nuclear endosperm, right? So here the answer will be free nuclear endosperm. Got it? So all of you, I hope you are doing good. Now filiform apparatus is characteristic feature of, right? Filiform is characteristic feature of whom? We have done it so many times. The filiform apparatus is found towards the micropylar end of. We have done it. It is synergids. You can see how the questions are repeated. How many times they are being repeated? Nucella embryo, no. Alurod, no. Yes, the right answer is the 3rd one. That is synergids. In angiosperms, microsporogenesis and megasporogenesis. Now what is it? Say this is the male part and this is microspore mother cell, right? And this is the female. The female will be megaspore mother cell, right? This will form microspore and this will form megaspore, right? The ploidy of microspore mother cell is 2n, that of megaspore mother cell is 2n, and that of microspore is n, and that of megaspore is n. So the common thing that happens in both of them over here is here meiosis takes place, right? It is through meiosis that microsporogenesis and megasporogenesis involves one common thing, is they involve meiosis. What are they? Form gamete without further division. This is an absurd statement. Occur in ovule, occur in anther. The first one thing that is common in both the steps is both of them, they involve meiosis. The right answer is the 2nd one. The wheat grain has an embryo with one large shield-shaped cotyledon. Okay, I'll just draw the diagram. This is the wheat, seed, and we know that here there's a demarcation over here. This part is your endosperm. On the outer side, it represents the alluron layer. You know this, right? And this is a single cotyledon, and this single cotyledon, in case of maize, in case of grass, this is known as scutellum. It is known as scutellum, right? So the single cotyledon in grass and maize is called as scutellum. So the right answer is not coleorhiza, not coleoptile, not epiblast, but scutellum. 5 questions have come. Now this again is a very good number. Now let us come to NEET 2016. In NEET 2016, the question is the coconut water from tender coconut represents. Again and again we have done. It is free nuclear endosperm, right? So see, the same question and the same. Free nuclear proembryo, no. Free nuclear endosperm, yes. You can see it how questions are repeated. That is why I said do practice the past question papers, because the questions, they have a tendency to get repeated, right? Which of the following statement is not true? That's asking which is not true, right? Pollen rain of many species cause severe allergies. Of many species, yes, it does. You have learnt one of the example is Parthenium, also called as carrot grass, and this is again a repeat question, and we have already seen it earlier. Stored pollen grain in liquid nitrogen can be used in crop breeding program. Storing them in liquid nitrogen is called as cryopreservation, and it's very well given in your NCERT that they are cryopreserved so that they can be further used in crop breeding programs. Please refer page 23, 24, 21 of your NCERT and you'll get these points. So this is again a right. Tapetum is used in dehiscence. It's wrong. As I told you earlier, the epidermis, the endothecium and middle layer. These are the outer 3 layers whose function is protection and dehiscence. Then comes tapetum, and the function of tapetum is only one, that is it is a nutritive tissue, right? So they are not true. I think this is not true. This should be the answer. Exine of pollen grain is made up of sporopollen, and you know that it's the right answer. So yes, we got it right. Third is the right answer. Seed formation without fertilization in flowering plants is a process of, you know that, formation of seeds without fertilization, right? Formation of fruit without fertilization is parthenogenesis, and seed without fertilization is called as apomixis, and formation of fruit without fertilization, that is called as parthenogenesis. So here it is seeds. So obviously the answer will not be somatic hybridization, not sporulation, not budding. The answer will be apomixis, right? Now you can see there are so many questions being asked from apomixis, and apomixis is basically being repeated again and again. It's a very highly repeat question. Which of the following statement is not correct? Now again look for the incorrect statement. Pollen germination and pollen tube growth are regulated by chemical component of pollen interacting with those of the pistil, right? It is saying, yes, I don't know whether you have studied this or not, but I have you have studied it or not, but how it happens. You know that this is carpel, this is ovary. Now let me draw an ovule, right? The diagrams are not coming to be great, but then definitely not bad as well. This is your embryo sac, and this is your synergid, and this is your filiform apparatus, right? This filiform apparatus basically secretes a chemical. One of them, they secrete a chemical. This chemical is called as calcium boron ionositol. Ionositol, right? And this calcium boron ionositol, you know, it secretes a chemical called as calcium boron ionositol. It releases, right? And this, what happens, this pollen tube, this is actually attracted towards this chemical. This is known as chemotropism. You have learnt it in class 11 also, that the boron, it helps in chemotropism, right? So yes, this is the right. The pollen germination is actually regulated by chemical component of between the pollen grain and those of the pistil, right? So this is the right style. Some reptiles have been reported to act as pollinators in some species. Yes, it is right. You have heard that some lizards like garden lizard and gecko, they are used as pollinators. So this is again the right answer. Pollen grain of many species can germinate germinate on the stigma of a flower, but only one pollen tube of the same species going to style. This is absolutely wrong. How? I'll tell you. This is very close and this is very catchy. Normally children, they do not understand this. It says that pollen grain of a number of species will land. Yes, it can land. This is of my species, this, but other species can also land. But only of the same species will germinate. It is saying pollen tube of many species can germinate. No, the other species will not germinate at all. They will just not germinate at all. Only of the same species will germinate. And one of them will actually eventually move inside. They will compete with each other because of the presence of transmission tissue, right? So according to me, this is a wrong statement. Insects that consume pollen or nectar without bringing about pollination are called nectar robbers, right? This is right. They are called as nectar robbers or pollen robbers, right? So this is the right answer. Now let us come to cotyledon of maize. We know that in maize and grass, the single cotyledon is called as scutellum. See, I'm making you revise it again and again so that you get it by heart. So that is called as scutellum, not coleoptile, not plumule, not coleorhiza, but scutellum. Got it right? Yes, second one. The proximal end of the filament is attached to. Now that's a tricky question. So this is my anther and this is my filament. Right, it's asking the proximal end is attached to where. So let me just see. First, let me place it in a flower. So this is my thalamus, right? This is my thalamus and this is my flower, like this. And it has two ends. This end is called as, which end should be proximal? Should this be proximal? This way. Normally we say that proximal is the anterior end and distal is the posterior end. Normally we say that, right? So as per that, this should be the proximal end because this seems anterior. No, proximal actually doesn't mean anterior. Proximal means something which is close to the origin. Anterior means it should be close to the origin, जहां से शुरुआत होती है. शुरुआती एरिया को कहते हैं proximal और बाद वाले को कहते हैं distal. तो अगर आप देखोगे तो ये start कहां से होता है? Thalamus से. Right, so this end is proximal and this is distal. So the filament ka proximal end is attached to whom? The thalamus. You will see it. It is in the third line or second line of page 21 NCERT. Just see that it is exactly verbatim from your NCERT. So the answer is not placenta, not anther, not connective, but the right one is thalamus. Right, so 6 questions have come in 2016. Wow, that's a very good number. Now let us come to NEET phase 2 2016. Right, match column 1 with column 2 and select the right codes. It is saying, match it. Now pistils which are fused together, what are they called as? They are called as syncarpus. So A ka hoga 3. Right, then formation of gamete, what it is called as? It's called gametogenesis. So B ka hoga 1. Hypha, this is from class 11 of ascomycetes, is dikaryotic, right? So C ka hoga 4. And unisexual female flowers, the unisexual female flowers, if the flower is unisexual and it is female, that means it only has pistil or carpel. Right, it has pistil or carpel. So such a flower is called as pistillate flower. Since it is saying female, unisexual female, the flower will be called as pistillate. So that is the fourth. So which one is the right answer? Yes, you guessed it right. It's the second one. In majority of angiosperm, look at page 26 of your NCERT. Majority of angiosperm reduction division occurs in the megaspore mother cell. Yes, the spelling here is a little wrong. It should be megaspore mother cell. Yes, in megaspore mother cell, a reduction division, that is meiosis, takes place to form 4 megaspores, of which 3 degenerate. We know that. This is N, this is 2N. So this seems to be a right answer. Let us move to the other. A small central cell. No, in embryo sac, the largest cell is the central cell. Right, this cell is called central cell and this is the largest, so it's not small. Egg has filiform apparatus. No, we know that it is the synergid which has the filiform apparatus. There are numerous antipodal cells. No, not at all. They are just antipodal cells are just 3 in number. So right, I think the right answer should be the first one. You guessed it right. So now let us name the next. Pollination in water hyacinth and water lily is brought about by the agency of. Now that's a great question. You know, both of them are aquatic plants, and normally what we think that those plants which live in water, they must be pollinating through water, right? But in both of them, what happens? The flower comes over the surface. It floats over the surface, right? What will happen, this is suppose my male flower, this is my female flower. So here the pollination does not occur through water, rather it occurs either through wind or it can occur through insects, right? Since they are emerged plants, the flowers are floating above the water surface, they do not pollinate by water, rather they pollinate by insects and winds. So it's not being bird, it's not water, it's not bat, rather it is winds and insects. Right? So fourth answer is the right one. The ovule in angiosperm is technical. We have already done it. The ovule is actually what? Megasporangium. We did it. This is a repeat question. So it is megasporangium. So the right answer is not megaspore mother cell, not megaspore, not this. The right answer is the third one, that is megasporangium. So NEET phase 2, again 4 questions were asked. That's a good number in 2016. Now 2017. The morphological nature of edible part of coconut. The coconut ka part which you eat, that is kernel or the liquid part. Both of them represent what? They represent endosperm. They are not perisperm, not cotyledon, not pericarp, but endosperm. See, this question is so much repeated. A dioecious flower prevents. Dioecious plant means what? It's example papaya. That means either they will bear unisexual male flowers or they will bear unisexual female flowers, right? So if the flowers are born on 2 different plants, okay, male and female organs are between two different flowers and 2 different plants. But obviously here what will happen? Neither autogamy will occur, neither geitonogamy, only xenogamy can occur here. So thus these plants, they prevent autogamy and xenogamy? No. Autogamy and geitonogamy? Yes. So the right answer is the second one. Right? Functional megaspore will develop into, we know that this is megaspore mother cell. See, I'm making you revise so many times. It will undergo meiosis, form 4 megaspores, 3 will degenerate, 1 functional megaspore will develop into female gametophyte, and this female gametophyte, you know, it is also called as embryo sac. You know that, right? So here the answer is not ovule, not endosperm, not embryo, but embryo sac. Great. Yes, we are going great. Now let me come to the next question, right? Attractants and rewards are required for. Who needs rewards in the form of, nectar? Who needs rewards in the form of pollen grains? Of course, it is the insects or animals. Take animals, not the biotic agent they require, not the abiotic agents. So pollination through biotic agent, one of them is anemo. No, anemophily means wind pollination. Hydrophily means it's water pollination. Cleistogamy is something different. Entomo means insect pollination. Insect is a biotic agent. So the right answer is the second one, right? So now in the next question, flowers with a single ovule in the ovary are usually pollinated by, we did it earlier, in wind pollinated plants, normally the ovary bears a single ovule. We did it earlier as well on page 29 of your NCERT. So here, not water, not bee, not bat, they are pollinated by winds. Double fertilization is exhibited. You know, plants are of 5 types: algae, bryophyte, pteridophyte, gymnosperms and angiosperm, and of the 5, it is only and only angiosperms which show double fertilization. So it's not gymnosperm, not algae, not fungi. The right answer is angiosperms. Right? 2017, 6 questions. Wow, that's a whooping, figure. That's a huge figure. Now let us come to 2018. Double fertilization is what? What is double fertilization? What happens in double fertilization? If I make this embryo sac, here I have the egg, right? This is the egg, and here I have 2 polar nuclei. Okay? One of the male gametes will fuse with the egg to form a diploid zygote, right? And the process is called as syngamy. And the other male gamete will fuse with the polar nuclei to form primary endospermic nucleus or primary endospermic cell. And since here 3 cells are fusing, we call it as triple fusion. Since here 2 fusions are taking place, 1 triple fusion and 1 syngamy, we call it as double fertilization, right? So fusion of 2 male gamete with 1 egg, no. 1 fuses with this and 1 this. Fusion of 1 male gamete with 2 polar nuclei, no. 1 with this, 1 with this. Fusion of 2 male gamete with 2 different eggs, no. Syngamy and triple fusion, yes. So the right answer is the fourth one. Which of the following plants show show a close relationship with a species of moth where none of the two can complete its life cycle without each other? Please refer page 30 of your NCERT. Last line, you'll see that there's a plant called as yucca plant. Okay. It is pollinated by only one moth called as yucca moth, and this is an obligate relation where none of them they can complete the life cycle without each other. So it's not banana, hydrilla or viola. Yes, the right answer is yucca. In pollen grains, they can be stored for several years in liquid nitrogen, a process called as cryopreservation. And tell me at what temperature does cryopreservation takes place? Yes, at minus 196 degree temperature. So you guessed it right. Which of the following has proved helpful in preserving pollinous fossils? You know what helps them preserve themselves? That is not gets them degraded, right? Fossil matlab kya hai? Something which is preserved over a period of long time. What helps it? You know it right. Yes, it is sporopollen, because it can neither be destroyed by temperature or any acid or alkali, or there is no enzyme which can degrade it, right? So what helps to preserve them in the form of fossils? It's not oil, it's not cellulose, it's not pollen kit, it is actually sporopollen, right? 2018 we had 4 questions. That's again a huge number, right? Now last we'll come to 2019. Last year, let us see what questions were asked and how many questions were asked. In some plants, the female gamete develops into embryo without fertilization. Yes, we know that the female gamete, the egg, develops into embryo without fertilization, a process we call as apomixis, right? Now what happened this year is, you will see in none of the option there's apomixis. There's parthenogenesis, there's autogamy, there's parthenocarpy and syngamy, right? So now the right word is not here. So now we have to choose which one is closest to the word apomixis, or which resembles apomixis in its function. Is it syngamy? No. In syngamy, both the gametes they fuse, while in apomixis, the gamete do not fuse. Is it parthenocarpy? No. In parthenocarpy, there's no fusion of gametes. It is the fruit which, the ovary makes fruit without fertilization. So there is no fusion of gametes. So this is wrong. Autogamy? No, it says that. Now parthenogenesis. Yes, in animals what happens? In animals what happens? From unfertilized egg when embryo is born in animals, right? Let me put my figure like in animals, this is called as parthenogenesis, right? So what is, apomixis in plants is parthenogenesis in animals. So that way, this word apomixis is close with parthenogenesis. So the right answer will be the first one, right? Now the next question, which of the following statement regarding post-fertilization development in flowering plants is incorrect? After fertilization, what happens? Post-fertilization, what happens? The zygote develops into embryo and so many things. The ovule develops to form seed. The ovary develops to form fruits. So it's asking which of the following development is incorrect. The ovule develop into embryo sac? No, this is incorrect. The ovule develops into, we know that, seed. Ovary develops into fruit? That's right. Zygote develops into embryo? That's right. The central cell develops into endosperm? That's right. So the incorrect answer is the first one. What is the fate of the male gamete once it is discharged in the synergid, right? So this is your synergid, this is your filiform apparatus. So these are the two synergids and this is the egg. The pollen tube enters through one of the synergids, and once it enters with the male gametes, what is the fate of this male gamete? That's what is asking, right? So what is the fate? Okay, we are having little 2019. We missed this question. How? Okay, sorry. There's some mistake. Let me go back. Okay, I'm sorry. There's some pointer issues. Let me check it once again. There's some pointer issues. I hope things get solved. Yeah. What is the fate of male gamete? It's asking, huh? One fuses with the egg and the other fuses with the central nuclei. That's right. One of them fuses with the egg and the other with the two polar nuclei. That seems to be correct. One fuses with the egg and other degenerates in the synergid. That's wrong. Both of them fuse with egg. Wrong. One fuses with egg and other with synergid. That's wrong. So obviously the right answer is the first one. I'm sorry, the answer got displayed. So the right answer is the first one. Right. So now let us come to the next question. Persistent nucellus. I told that persistent nucellus. Nucellus basically it forms perisperm. We have already discussed it. And in your NCERT, please refer page 23. You will find two examples. One is sugar beet. You will find sugar beet is a plant where perisperm is found, and the other is what we call Golgi. Pepper, black pepper, right? These are the two examples that are given in your NCERT. So persistent will be perisperm. So that's correct. That's the third one. So in 2019, we can see 4 questions were asked from this chapter. That's a very, very, very good number, right? So with that, children, we have discussed question papers right from 2010. I think, yes, we did it from 2010. No, 10, 11, 12, 13. Yeah, we did it from 2010 to 2019. We have done these question papers. And what we have realized, please let us summarize it very quickly. One, we realized that this is a very important chapter. A lot of questions are being asked from this chapter. I'll just show you in my next slide. You can see it very well over here. See, on a basis 3, 0, 4, 2, 5, 3, 4, 4, 4, 5, 6, 4, 6, 4, 4. That means on an average 4 to 5 questions are being asked from this chapter, right? 4 to 5 questions from any one chapter. That chapter becomes extremely important. So from medical point of view, this chapter is very, very, very important. So 2 or 3 things we have concluded. One, this chapter is very, very important so long as medical entrance examination is concerned. There are many questions which are repeated, like, megasporangium, what is a female gametophyte called as, what is another name for ovule, or the coconut water, whether it is endosperm or not, regarding pollen grains. There are many questions, which are repeated over the time. So those questions are very, very, very important question. And third thing, they notice that in these so many years of question paper, it's only one question that came out of NCERT, that is about transmission tissue. Other than that, everything is about NCERT. See, in all the slides, the page number is given. So I have advice, please open your NCERTs, go into that page, underline that statement, those sentences from where the question has been asked with highlighter pen, say yellow, and write it in the bracket 2010. That means this question, this line had appeared as a question in the year 2010. This was really, really help you a lot, because every time you cannot open this video to go through the questions. And at the beginning of the chapter, on the NCERT, please make a note that on average 4 to 5 questions are being asked from this chapter, so that on the D-Day you remember how important this chapter is, right? So I hope, guys, you enjoyed this series, and I normally, as I say, thank you for being there, and I hope this session was useful to you. And if you found this really important, I really thank you for this. If you found this important and it was helpful, I will just say one thing. Please do like my put your comments at the bottom, share it with your friends so that they can also be benefited. If you are new to my channel, please subscribe and press the bell notification so that you come to know of my upcoming videos. And please, till then, study hard, say well. Only one mantra for getting into medical entrance examination, that is diligence. Diligence means, you are very hardworking, you are steadily hardworking. Diligence and open-mindedness, one big, person once told, these are the 2 things that can lead to you into to make you, successful in anything you do, right? So study hard, make the best of your time, and take care of yourself. Thank you so much.